Hello again, my name is Anderson Pacchioni. Welcome to this IATA Digital Innovation webinar on modern airline retailing. Just please bear with us for another 30 seconds to 1 minute. We're gonna start it. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this webinar on digital innovation, modern airline retailing. We are very excited to be talking about modern airline retailing today with our colleagues from BrandSpace and Lufthansa Group. But just before we start it, because I still see some people connecting, we're gonna play a short video talking about retailing in general and retailing in the airline industry.
Modern airline retailing is undergoing a profound transformation, shedding up decades-old legacy systems and processes to focus on true customer centricity, offering personalized value-added experiences while abstracting away the complexities of the technology transition. Airlines are gearing up to provide seamless, dynamic retailing by investing in customer-centric solutions that enhance the entire travel journey, making it more enjoyable and efficient. Get deep insight for your digital strategy with BrandSpace Management Team, our CEO, Ursula Silling, our CTO, David Turton, and our Director of Digital Solutions and Consulting, Radu Iliescu, directly from Oxford Street in London.
Let's talk about the modern airline retailing. Everyone talks about it. IATA has this consortium of, I think it's 10 airlines. For many airlines, the question is what is really even behind and which direction should we take?
As strange as all this sounds, to essentially be running on software architected 70 years ago, that's the 60 to 70 years ago, that's the reality of our industry. So what we are doing now and what we should be doing now for the first time probably, properly, is at the same time to transform the technology, but also to rethink the end-to-end business process in order to take advantage of the benefits that the new technologies are delivering.
Airline products are difficult. They're complicated. It's not the same as buying a pair of shoes. And the second part is the fulfillment. So you're buying a product that is very, very difficult to serve. Get someone through an airport, onto a flight, through the flight to the other end, and then get them back again afterwards. It's a very, very difficult set of customer interactions. You start to break it down into these kind of hundreds and hundreds of different elements you need to do to serve your customers very well, and it becomes, for the airline and for the technology stack, quite an interesting challenge to solve. It's to be able to deal with this tech debt or abstract it away or sit on top of it, which is what we do with our AAA platform. Try and abstract away that complexity and provide the flexibility and tools that airlines need to do a lot of these different things and to optimize them in very, very short time frames. It can be built in such a way where it's end-to-end. It can deliver the entire customer experience.
I'd summarize it in 2 words. It's really being able to have true customer centricity, to really focus on your customers, which I've always been driving to think about customers but the problem is that because of this legacy technology and the processes behind, the customer didn't really appear in all of this.
So thank you, BrandSpace, for this amazing video, inspiring video to talk about retailing and the retailing that the industry is going through now in aviation. So now, in order to start presenting our panelists from today, I'd like to welcome all of them from Lufthansa Group and also from Brand Space. I'd like to welcome Sophie. Sophie, welcome. Thanks for being with us. If you can do an introduction of yourselves.
Yes, hello everyone. I joined Lufthansa Group in 2018. I started with NDC communication, and during COVID, I changed to the flight operations department, taking care of crisis communication. And end of 2021, I joined our internal program driving forward the modern airline retailing, and also responsible for communication and change. So yeah, thank you for having me today.
Thanks, Sophie, for being with us. And Raju from Branch Space, welcome.
Thank you, Anderson. Hello, everyone. My name is Radu. I am the Director of Consulting at Branch Space. Joined Branch Space about 7 years ago, coming also from Lufthansa Group prior to joining Branch Space. And since then, I've been leading our consulting unit, working with a number of different airlines worldwide. A lot of our work a lot of our consulting work tends to be with large airlines or airline groups, and in particular, our consulting focus is on digital retail and distribution technology, and more recently, offer and order management.
Thank you, Radu. Thank you for being with us. David.
Hi, everyone. So I'm Dave. I'm the Chief Technology Officer at Branch Space, responsible for AAA, our technology platform. So I've been with Branch Space for the last 10 years or so, helping build the company and the product more recently over the last, say, 5 years. Been in the industry for the last, I think, 15 to 20 years, pretty much always on the product and technology vendor side, working with companies like EB2 International, which was at one point acquired by Sabre. Spent a bit of time at Sabre after that, a short stint at Mobile Travel Technologies, and then here at Branch Space. So looking forward to the discussion.
Thank you, David. And Ursula.
Hi, everybody. I'm Ursula. I've been working most of my life directly with airlines, different business models, full service, low cost, Lufthansa Group, British Airways, Kenya Airways, Aer Lingus, and a couple more. Most of the time I worked as Chief Commercial Officer directly also in the main airline markets. And the common thread over all of these years was that since early days, I've been driving digital customer centricity and innovation, because I realized how important it is to be commercially successful. And as a result, I joined Branch Space in 2021, because I felt Branch Space is not only the type of partner I've always been dreaming of, but we offer the solutions and services that are so critical actually to support the move to customer centricity and modern retailing. Thanks, IATA. Thanks, Anderson, for having us.
No, thank you for being here today and be sharing all the information you're going to be hearing shortly. So just before we start, if you are okay, all of you, I'm going to be sharing just in 2 or 3 minutes the industry priorities, because we're going to be talking about industry priorities in this webinar. So I'd like, first of all, to show how the digital innovation ecosystem works and what is in there, and the tools that you use to tackle the industry priorities. So first of all, I'd like to share that, as you may know, the industry priorities are coming directly from the board. And then we have those industry priorities, and you go and work very close together with the advisory councils. Advisory councils, they are C-level from airlines, and they are providing direct recommendation in a constant basis to us on the work you are doing together on these priorities. So we work very close together with the Digital Transformation Advisory Council, the Distribution Advisory Council, the Industry Financial Advisory Council. So once you have those priorities, we have the tools to tackle them. So one of the tools that you have is the Accelerated IATA. This ecosystem that we bring is startups, fresh startups. Most of them are coming outside of the industry, and they work together with airlines and other innovation hubs here, and a good example, it's a BrandSpace, because BrandSpace is one of the main mentors of the Accelerated IATA program. Just yesterday, they were delivering the educational session for them. So they get to know about the processes and the standards we have in the industry in order to, also support them to help us. Then you have the Innovation Lab. The Innovation Lab is an evolution from the think tanks that we're running for years. The idea behind the Innovation Lab is to take the standards, then you take use cases, and put them together in a format of proof of concept, a POC. I'm glad to share that you are running a POC since the beginning of the year on the digital identity. It's really about the end-to-end travel with a passenger with digital credentials. And BrandSpace is also part of this project. And we're going to be launching and announcing these results in the World Passenger Symposium at Open Plenary in 2 weeks' time in Chicago. Then we have the networking events and also the educational events like the IATA Innovation Days. We have the webinars like the one you're having today, and also we have the symposiums. So I'm very glad to see that our participants from the call today, Lufthansa Group and BrandSpace, are part of this ecosystem. Now, one of the industry priorities is the modern airline retailing. And in fact, we have, as Ursula was mentioning in the video, we have the consortium. It's a group of early adopters. So it's a total of 13 airlines that are really, delivering and implementing the pillars. Namely, they are Air France-KLM Group, American Airlines, British Airways, Emirates, Finnair, Iberia, LATAM, Lufthansa Group, Oman Air, Qatar Airways, Singapore Airlines, Sheman Air, and Turkish Airlines. So these pillars, in summary, what does it mean? It means the transition from legacy, the world of EDIFACTS, to the new world of offers and orders. Now, behind the first pillar is really about the standards enabling the airlines to create digital identity for the customers. And this is really helpful because you can, personalize the offers to your customers, knowing who they are. And also you provide a seamless process for them for the whole experience from inspiring to getting to end destination. And these standards behind the scenes are also connected to the value chain partners in order to all this process of on digital identity. Then you move to selling with offers. This is really about retailing with offers. It's like about creating new products and services, new partnerships, dynamic prices, personalized offers, and everything is about value creation. This pillar is really about value creation. Then the last one is about delivery. It's about also making sure that you have an order for the passenger, for the customer. So it means that with this order, we are moving away from PNRs, from EMDs, from e-tickets, and it's really about thinking of the delivery of this, what you have promised during the personalization process. So I just want to summarize this. I just closed my presentation. Now we're gonna move to the discussion, but I just wanted to show this is super important because it's a huge transformation. It's about not only about the technology, but it's about the processes behind the scenes. With the ultimate goal, what is to serve better the customer. So imagine the customer like BrandSpace. We're showing this nice video in Oxford Street. Think about your experience in other areas like you are shopping through Amazon or your Netflix, Spotify, buying through IKEA online. So this is really putting the customer at the center. So I'm gonna stop showing my our presentation now because now we are moving to the discussion. And I'd like to have Ursula, if you don't mind, I'm gonna pick you first. And let's do something. If you don't mind, let's have this like you are in a airline lounge at the airport, like you're having a coffee, a champagne, or a tea. And I'm gonna ask you the first question, but doesn't mean that I'm gonna be addressing myself questions to others. So we can also take the lead, ask questions to other colleagues, and let's do this as natural as possible. So you're saying, I'm gonna take you first. So you're saying that you'll be working for industry, you're passionate about this subject, and you have this experience as a CEO of Brand Space and from airlines as well as a leader member in the airlines. I'm hearing through webinars or even through one-to-one discussions from symposiums, different opinions about this transformation. Some people think that it goes too slow. You are late, we are slow. And some people think they have different opinions, think that no, this is a huge industry. You have to move forward, you have to change departments, you have to change the structures. It's about processes. So what's your opinion about it, if I may ask you?
It's not a straightforward answer because I actually think there are several dimensions to this. So if I took the critical view and I just looked at how long it took since discussions about NDC started and how many years, more than a decade, it took to really start some adoption, I would say, yes, it's an extremely long process and hasn't even really completely started full speed. But at the same time, if you see actually that many airlines have started to embrace modern retailing and have started to realize that they do need to offer personalized propositions, dynamic propositions to their customers, that they need to do this transition if they want to be and stay relevant in the marketplace. I think this is actually a big success. And if you then also see, there is probably the acceleration by the pandemic and for sure by what you have just explained, Anderson, the big customer change, because customers will not tolerate it anymore. And the journeys to this, I think ultimately it is a big change, as you also mentioned. And I think probably next to the legacy technology and process changes, the biggest change is also the whole mindset change and even the skills change, which is accompanied for this. So in that respect, it is good to see that the journey has started, that everyone is embracing it. And I think that the more, whether it's the consortium or the more airlines have actually started, and we will hear a number of stories about this here today, the more others also get encouraged and do more. But the journeys in themselves, they look different and they might differ for each airline in their specific market environment. And I would actually like to ask Radu to tell us, Radu, in your consulting practice and with your consulting team, you encounter a number of different approaches, particularly working with tier 1 airlines in that field. Can you give us some examples?
Sure. I have to be careful with how much I can disclose for confidentiality reasons, but yeah, we work with with several airlines in this area, some of them part of the consortium that Anderson listed at the beginning of the webinar. And indeed, one of the things that we see is that not all airlines are looking at this transition in the same way. And I would say there are fundamentally two dimensions based on which the carriers different carriers or different airline groups seem to differ in their approach. One dimension is the sequencing and the timing of the transition. We see that in general, the consortium members, obviously, because they are the keenest and most advanced, they are the ones that are looking to move first and are already taking steps in that direction, even if those steps at the moment primarily mean things in the around, well, sourcing processes, RFPs, for example, or proof of concept projects, while others prefer to wait at the moment and still ponder on how things are going to evolve. And there are, I think, good reasons for both of these approaches. Another difference that we see is the scope covered by different airlines. And I think so far we see two significant trends. One trend is airlines which are focusing first and foremost on order management. And they are looking to transform order first and then offer, well, I suppose either they feel that they are already reasonably well covered on the side of offer management, or they don't see it as an equally high priority as order management, with the full end-to-end scope and looking at it as simultaneous and complete end-to-end transformation of the full offer and order stack. These are the main two dimensions of variance between different carriers that we see on the market.
Thanks very much, Radu. You were breaking off a little bit. I hope it was only for me, but I think the main messages got across. Thank you. I would like to ask Dave about, Dave, can you share some stories from our branch space customers that you see, how they decided to move to a modern retailing environment?
Thanks, Ursula. Maybe it's just worth qualifying or explaining a little bit more about branch space and our focus on, or different focuses on digital resale. So Raju's shared some insights about some of the consulting work that we do, which is very broad and very deep, including, as he talked about, helping airlines with the OOM evolution. On the technology side, so TripLake is a digital commerce platform, and by its nature, our objective is to actually connect into offer and order management systems. It doesn't matter what, it doesn't matter how. So, either legacy PSS or DCS, or much more modern NDC-based solutions. It really doesn't matter. The goal of our platform is to deliver really great customer experiences and do whatever is needed to make that happen. So leverage orders and offers, process payments, connect to CRMs, etc., etc. So with that context in mind, I guess the experience that we have on the airline side is airlines not feeling that they need to wait for any kind of modern or transformation into a modern offer and order management world. I think the problems are there in terms of customers needing to deal with an airline in a really engaging way, get access to the products and services that they want, feel like that they are being heard through the travel journey in case of issues or problems. So really what we try to solve with our partner airlines is how do we do that and abstract away the details of the offer and order management system or any other system. So we work with some airlines who large and small, who are perhaps on a legacy PSS and DCS, where we actually connect into those solutions through APIs and fetch flight offers, create orders, take payments, issue tickets, etc. Depending on those APIs, it can be more complicated or less complicated. But at the end, it's really the end, the means to the end. The end is to deliver a really great retailing experience and customer experience. I think I guess our airlines see that connectivity into legacy systems more as the plumbing. On the other hand, we've also worked with airlines. One startup airline in Africa, for example, where it's a very different story. So they actually brought a modern offer order management system to the table, NDC APIs, and so our plumbing was to connect into that. But the customer experience challenges were the same, and there's lots of different things that we look at solving beyond just what's a good offer and what's a good order. So how do we ensure there's a really good single sign-on experience for customers along different touch points? The website, the mobile apps, the booking flow, the servicing flows, check-in flows. How do we effectively present offers to customers, or how do we present any kind of part of the experience so that it's relevant, it's easy to understand, it doesn't get in the way? How do we start to personalize that experience? And I don't just mean personalizing the product, but really personalizing what kind of experience they get. How do we make sure that they get access to really good real-time information in an engaging way, like through rich push notifications? So I'm aware I'm probably moving off the topic of modern offer and order management systems a little bit, but the point to make is when it comes to the goal, which is modern retailing, the airlines that we work with don't see the lack of a modern offer and order management system as a major constraint. It may increase the complexity of the plumbing, but we can still work on a lot of really difficult problems. So how have our airlines tried to do that we're working with? Some have taken a very, or let's say, more bold transformational approach where the objective is to replace the entire digital ecosystem at once. So both the main online presence, airline.com, all of the key transactional flows like typical booking engine or check-in flows, mobile apps as well, the whole customer registration, login and member experience. So the principle behind that is the experience needs to be engaging and consistent and seamless across all of these different touch points. And those airlines have chosen to partner with us because we have a platform that can cover all of that, and they don't need to patch that together with a number of different vendors, which when you do that, it becomes very, very hard to deliver those consistent experiences. Other airlines we work with do want to get there, but they want to get there in a more stepwise approach. So deploy part of the experience first, like the airline.com website portal and maybe member experience, and then look further down the track to progressively potentially evolving or replacing some of their other key flows like booking or check-in. So we support both approaches. Both have their merits and challenges. But I think for us, it's really about making sure we have a good technology platform that can be flexible with these different approaches and working closely to solve customer challenges, not just offer order management plumbing challenges.
Thank you, David. If I can ask you, Ursula, to have another question. Sophie's gonna be the next one. Just to remind everyone, you can ask questions as well. There's a chat option down in your app. You can ask questions there. We're gonna dedicate some time at the end of this session to answer them. Thank you.
Thanks, Anderson. Thanks, Dave. If I think back about my airline experience, I remember that sometimes people would say, it took me about a year to start to understand what you meant when you started to talk about customer centricity, to really start to understand what it meant and to be able to proactively drive it more. So when thinking about this tremendous change that airlines are going through in order to move to modern retailing, I think it is amazing that Lufthansa Group, one of the first appointments that they have done was actually to create a role for communication for this project. Sophie, what are the main goals for this communication role? What are you focusing on?
Yeah, so when we embarked on our modern airline retailing story journey, our main goal was the first thing we wanted to do is to simplify the understanding of our initiative, and also to ensure that the message reached as many levels as possible at Lufthansa Group. So our strategy was to make the change comprehensible and ensure that every stakeholder understands the nature and the importance of the initiative. Next to, of course, fostering a culture of understanding, openness, and collaboration.
And you've taken some very innovative approaches in order to make this touchable, approachable for people to understand, because you are trying to reach actually completely different stakeholders across the organization. Can you share a bit more about this?
Yes, of course. So in the beginning, we of course initiated interactive workshops, diving deep into our current pain points. Also established regular internal communication, like monthly or quarterly updates, monthly reviews, what's happening in the industry, and also increased our presence at external events and conferences. But one of our most important initiatives was the creation of TINA Travel. So what we tried to do was to map out a traveler's current journey with Lufthansa Group. So this is our slide deck, what you see right now on the left side. You see a very stressed TINA Travel encountering many pain points throughout her journey. And we contrasted it with a journey that will be enhanced by modern airline retailing. So on the right side, you see the perfect world and a very happy TINA Travel. So with this visual representation, it made the benefits more tangible and easy to understand. And yeah, looking like this from an end-to-end customer perspective, we could highlight the direct impact on the customer experience. So right now, what we are doing is also bringing TINA Travel more into life by creating an animated video, but also go one level deeper. So we are creating more personas for the different areas that will be affected by offer and order. So actually right now I'm working on Freddy Finance, who is a Lufthansa Group accountant. And we are, same as the story, we're mapping his current pain points and then contrasting it to the future with modern retailing.
Thank
Great.
you.
Thank you. Thank for this explanation. And indeed, as Ursula has mentioned, this is an innovative way of addressing communication and break the silos. And thank you and for sharing this. So I'm gonna be talking about challenges now as well. I'm gonna talk to you about in a few minutes, Sophie, but I'd like to ask both David and Radu. If you don't mind, I'm gonna start with Dave. Can you talk more about the blockers that you have been seeing, the challenges, and how the airlines can overcome them, for your experience?
Yeah, sure. And maybe again, just to clarify, the lens at which I look at this is not so much the rollout of offer and order management systems. It's more how do we leverage systems like this to deliver great retailing experiences. And so maybe, if you don't mind, I'll answer the question in a slightly different way. It's how can airlines get ready for the challenge of making that shift from, let's say, maybe a legacy PSS, DCS environment to something more modern, and avoiding some of the blockers there. And look, these are things that our customers actively are thinking through and talking with us about as well. I think one of the key considerations or technology enablers for this is to think through how to abstract away some of the details or pragmatically APIs from your legacy environment. So make sure there's a good kind of decoupling between what you deliver to the consumer through the digital experience and what is underneath. And because that abstraction then makes it easier for you to start to replace different components over time. The second is to think through how to build modularity into your digital ecosystem. It may be that for some airlines, the transition ends up being very fast and total, some kind of complete replacement of the digital and underlying ecosystem. But for others, it may end up being a much more gradual, step-by-step approach. And so just making sure that you get ready for that by making sure your experiences and solutions and technology components are modular and can be activated or connected, relatively easy and independently. Things like thinking through in such abstraction layers, do you have a very good set of capabilities, like a good shopping cart that can sit on top of different kinds of offer and order management systems and allow the ability to offer and book multiple different types of products, and in doing so connect into different offer and order management systems as they get changed or replaced over time. So yeah, I guess these are just different examples of ways to think through how that transition can be made easier over time, because I think it will probably be the case that it works in different ways for different airlines that have different infrastructure and different kinds of partners and different appetites for risk. So I think these things are important. Yeah, so what else can I add to that? Maybe one other consideration too is some airlines think through, in terms of building out such an abstraction layer, how to go about that. So, some kind of build versus buy discussion. And concretely, this might mean building out some kind of ESB layer or other kind of integration layer. And then think through how to connect that into a lot of different systems like your PSS, but also up the chain, how to support different client applications. And it can be a very, very difficult and dangerous investment if done in the wrong way, because building these kinds of things yourself takes a lot of effort, takes a lot of focus, and it's not just a build once kind of process. So it's a very, very much an ongoing collaboration with different parties and different use cases, and you tend to need a very good kind of IT competency to take that on. So coming back to the question, I guess one of the challenges is just how do you do this, and is it best to think through some kind of partner technology ecosystem or building out some of this abstraction yourself?
Great, thank you, David, for your insights, and also for addressing the question that you addressed, because I'm gonna ask the same question, Radu. So what the challenge is, or how the airline industry can be ready for the blockers? If you could answer that.
Yeah, so I think there are three major things. I mean, depending on how you look to break down things, but I see three major challenges and three major challenges that as an industry we will have to address to make this transition possible. And I want to make it very clear. I think it is the single biggest transformation of our industry, not only in terms of technology, but also in terms of business process, that has happened in the last 70 years, probably since the very first emergence of electronic systems in the airline industry. So it is really something completely disruptive and transformative. And I think I see three major challenges that airlines are facing right now. The first one is the immaturity of the current solutions and the incompleteness of the standards. Both from a technology standpoint and from a business process standpoint, what we have now is probably only halfway between vision and actual definition of the future products and the future processes. There are a number of different areas which are not yet defined, even in terms of the high-level business process. I mean, famously or infamously, depending on how you look at it, interline NDC is still not yet defined as a business process. But this is just one example. There are a lot of detailed things, for example, in the relationship between offer and order management, the future product catalog, how that's going to work. There are a lot of things which are not yet clear. They are still very much at a vision or concept stage. And this makes things slow and challenging, because airlines want to start with something, but where do you start? You can't go and launch. It's very difficult to go and launch an RFP, for example, because you don't have yet very concrete and detailed requirements. Some airlines have tried different airlines have tried different approaches to mitigate this problem. One of the approaches that we've seen was trying to take the current existing set of business requirements and functions and converting them or adapting them for the transition to offer and order. But well, I at least think that's not possibly not the best approach, because if you take this approach, then you are only doing yet again, the same mistake that we have made as an industry several times over now, and most critically back in the late 50s, early 60s, when the first electronic processes and systems were designed, which was to not take advantage of the possibilities afforded by the new technologies to redesign the business process, but just trying to model the same process that we had before onto a new technology stack. And this is, it's I would say, the story of our lives as an industry, the story of our life as an industry. We've made this mistake over and over and over again. I think this time we really should try to be more visionary and careful than that, and not try to replicate the same process on a new technology stack. And I think that's the great opportunity afforded by this wave of transformation. The second challenge that I see, and this is much more of a technical challenge, is the transition itself. Anyone who has already given some thought to how the transition from the current legacy paradigm to the future offer and order paradigm is going to look like has realized that, at least for an airline that is not starting anew, an airline that comes with the baggage of historical processes, historical bookings, and so on, this cannot be a big bang migration, a big bang transition. You cannot say that I'm going to plan for the 25th of February 2025 to transition from the legacy PSS and all its surrounding e-commerce ecosystem to offer and order overnight. That's just not going to work. There will be a coexistence period between the legacy ecosystem and the new offer and order based ecosystem, which is going to be firstly lengthy. I think most airlines that we are working with assume such a coexistence period to be at least in the several years to up to maybe in some cases more than 10 years, depending on whom you ask. And at the same time, this coexistence is going to be technically quite complex, because you are going to have parallel systems that are going to hold, for example, reservation data. You are still going to have a legacy reservation system as part of the PSS ecosystem, which will be holding PNRs, and you are still going to have, for a while at least, tickets and EMDs associated with those PNRs, while in parallel you are going to have a new order management system that is going to hold one order compatible orders, and these are going to have to be kept in near real-time synchronization. And by the way, this is just one example. It's the most obvious example of the types of data coexistence and synchronization that we are going to have to take care of in the future world. But there are other examples that I can give. For example, inventory synchronization. We are all aware that with the transition to offer management, we are going to look at a new type of inventory, which is no longer going to be RBD or booking class based. But this doesn't mean that you can switch off the legacy inventory instant when you launch the new one. So you are probably, most airlines are going to handle two different inventories in parallel with some kind of synchronization or translation logic between them. So we are talking about, I think, offer and order, the transition to offer and order management has the means and brings the means and the opportunity to simplify our extremely complex technical ecosystem and business processes, set of business processes as an industry, But before we get to that simplification, we are very likely going to first go through a transitionary period where the complexity is actually going to grow before it starts going down. And the third point I want you to talk about, the third challenge that I think we need to address, and I think, Dave, you've hinted at it earlier as well. And I'm a bit cautious. I don't want to misrepresent it because it is at the same time a challenge, but it's also a massive, massive opportunity. And it's about modularity. All the airlines that are seriously looking now at offer and order management, even those that are looking to transition the whole end-to-end ecosystem of offer and order at the same time, rather than taking it piece by piece and looking, for example, only at order management and maybe product catalog first and then the rest. Everyone is really focused and cares a lot about modularity. Coming from an industry which historically has used a lot of legacy monolithic solutions, like the infamous reservation system, which does at the same time in one technical system combines the creation and storage, the persistence of bookings, as well as pricing, for example. We really don't want to replicate that in the future, right? We are all looking forward to modular, granular architectures, decoupled architectures. But the problem with that is modularity is not actually easy to deliver. And in particular, the decoupling of offer and order management will be a challenge because you end up, and we have to look at this from the perspective of decentralization of offer distribution as well. In today's world, in the legacy world, offer distribution was heavily centralized through entities like ATPCO, for example, the GDSs. That's again not something we want to replicate.
I'm feel really sorry to interrupt, but you have 10 minutes left, and I'm sorry. If you can close in 30 seconds, I'm sorry.
Yeah, sure, no problem. So apologies for taking so long. So basically what I want to say, the last one is both a massive opportunity because it brings incredible benefits, but also it generates quite some challenges from a technical point of view, decoupling offer and order management and enabling an airline to distribute in a decentralized way the offers while maintaining full compatibility with their order management and future servicing. That's again a very significant technical challenge.
Thank you, Radu, for your detailed explanation. And in fact, I take this opportunity to tell everyone that you have a website, iata.org/retailing. Then you can see all the standards, including the ones on the interlining future of partnerships. We're really pleased to inform as well that towards the end of the year, we are launching a new segment for the Accelerated IATA, working on new partnerships. And I really appreciate your valuable contribution, Radu. I'm gonna move now to Sophie. And Sophie, I'm not gonna ask you technical questions because you're working on the communication part, but you do have challenges as well. So I'd like to hear from you. How do you overcome those challenges? And how do you convince colleagues to get on board and to connect departments? So if you can share this information with us.
Yes, sure. So at the center of every change are people, their emotions, concerns, motivations. So this is why we introduced Tina Travel last year to relate to this change. But stories alone are not enough. So we have to build a strategic framework around it. So we are currently working on a change concept, which you can see here. It's a very simple version of it. So the very first step is vision and alignment. So we aim for everyone to not only know what, to know the what, but also deeply understand why we are doing this. So this is also where our communication strategy comes in. So we need regular updates, open channels, transparency, and also transparent sharing of both successes, but also setbacks to ensure that everyone's on the same page. Also, we try to foster two-way conversation, and it's something that we have to tackle right now is the skill building and fostering community. So we want to go beyond only informing, but also to empower our people. So through training, knowledge sharing, and also setting up or building up a change agent network. So have change agents in the different departments that act as single point of contacts for questions, training. This is something we are building up right now. So yeah, we want to create an ecosystem where change is not imposed, but also embraced. And while this is everything ongoing right now, the principle of continuous improvement is guiding us. So we take the feedback very seriously that we receive from our people. We measure their impact, and then on the way we adjust as needed. So yeah, in essence, our guiding thread through all of this is clear, consistent, and collaborative communication. So we want to keep everyone informed, actively involved, and ensure that every step, big or small, is a shared milestone.
Great, thank you. Thanks, Sophie, for sharing this. I'm just checking if you have any questions. We don't have any questions so far, so please, we still have 9 minutes left. If you still want to ask a question, go for it. In the meantime, Ursula, would you like to ask any other questions, or do you have anything in mind?
Yes, I actually always like to think about measurable benefits as well. And I would like to ask the question, what does success look like for airlines, and from what moment would first results be visible? Let me start with Dave. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, yeah, interesting question. To give some context on my response, so the airlines that we work with, and maybe this is quite common for similar kinds of vendors, that we get involved in projects where we need to activate products, but as part of that activation, we need to work together very closely on a delivery plan, so connectivity of our solution into other solutions, configuration, customization, design, etc. So these projects can be time-consuming. So coming back to the question, what does the definition of success look like? I think in my experience, the definition changes frequently, monthly sometimes, or weekly, as we work with our partner airlines, for very good reasons. I think the airline industry and the business of selling flights and other products to customers across lots of different markets, it's very, very dynamic. And also, as you get into these projects, you learn a lot as you go along, so that influences how you think about what needs to be delivered. And so how do we make sure that this kind of understanding of success is jointly shared, and the evolution of that definition is common? So for us, as a company that builds software in an agile way, we take that very seriously. So through our deliveries, even though they can be very complex, we aim to share our solution with our customers as it progresses very often. So normally what we like to do, maybe within the first few weeks if it's a smaller project, or the first couple of months if it's a larger project, is share our solution with our customers and give them access to it. And then we make changes to that normally every 2 weeks. And every 2 weeks we'll provide a new view of the solution, give them access, and we have a process to then take that feedback, work together, and refine as we go along. Not as easy as it sounds when you're dealing with a very complicated technology, especially when there's lots of interdependencies into different partners, but with a lot of focus and a lot of good experience as a technology vendor and very close collaboration with customers, it can work well. And we have found, very concretely, even with projects this year, this kind of collaboration is critical. We've had massive learnings on our side about what it is our customers were expecting at different parts of the project. And it would have been a very dangerous thing indeed for us not to have had that feedback very early on. And you can only get that kind of real feedback when people are looking and touching the same solution.
And then somehow this continues post-delivery, post-launch. when it's about achieving the customer success, achieving the business goals and the adoption. So it's kind of a journey as well. Thank you, Dave. Radu, what would you see as the main factors to measure success?
I think if I were to list them, it would take me probably half a day. But when I fantasize about what the future would look like, I have three key moments that I see as real inflection points, and where I picture myself quaffing champagne once we have the first production process concluding successfully. And to be honest, none of them really have to do with one order, because creating orders is already something which is quite tangible and achievable. I'm not going to be ecstatic when I see a one order created, but one that I see is the first fully atomic end-to-end flight offer being created. So the future of an airfare brand, where each individual component of the fare brand, starting with the atomic right to fly and then any additional options or services that are added on top, for example, flexibility, changeability, cancelability, whether there is a seat included or bag or anything, each of those priced based on a continuous pricing curve and priced atomically, with the total final price of the bundle being created from the individual price curve point of each granular product. The first time I'm going to see that, I think I'm going to celebrate, definitely. A second one for me will be the first time I'm going to see a full end-to-end flow of an offer and order created through interline MDC. So the first time when a flight search is going to come from a major travel agent to not one but multiple airlines acting as retailers, each of those airlines then cascading requests to their suppliers within their network, each of those airlines then creating the aggregated offers, sending the offers back to the travel agent deciding from which of those retailers they are going to pick up the offer and convert it into an order. So the first time I have seen, we are working on proof of concepts flows of this type, but for now it's all limited. Typically it's within groups of airlines that have a very close relationship, but the first time I'm going to see that working as a full end-to-end flow, and also working between airlines which are not part of the same group and have the same ownership. Again, that's going to be, for me, an inflection point. And the third one, which I think we are all really looking forward to, is for one of the major airlines or airline groups who are leading this. So looking at Lufthansa Group, IAG, American Airlines, Air France KLM, Finnair. I want to see the first one of these completely decommissioning, completely stopping the legacy PSS. I want to see their legacy PSS completely switched off, and one of these complex, large carriers who rely a lot on their network, whose business is connecting hub flights, who have a lot of interline and codeshare agreements. Seeing one of these completely functioning without a legacy PSS, without a legacy reservation system, without teletype messages and EDIFACT messages, and everything switching to one order and NDC, again, for me, that's going to be a massive celebration.
Then we will be able to have champagne in the lounge. Today it's water.
Showering.
Thank you.
Showering in champagne.
Thank you.
It's a good one.
Sophie, which achievements can you look back to? Because you've gone quite a journey purely from the communication perspective. Can you share this with us?
Yes, of course. So when I reflect on our journey, there are several milestones that we are really proud of. So I think one thing that we really have was a success was creating a narrative that, let's say, demystified the complexities of offer and order. So this was through the creation of TINA 12, but of course we were creating a lot of one-page slide decks to make the abstract tangible and also help our stakeholders visualize and understand the core benefits. So also our stakeholder engagement approach, where we had like various workshops, we went into leadership circles, management board. They have been really instrumental in gaining alignment and momentum. And also now with the establishment of our change management concept, we are really looking forward to ensuring that we stay on track and adapt. But also, yeah, when it comes to breaking the silos, so right now we are already today working in a cross-functional setup where we have departments who maybe have never even heard about each other. So that's really great. And in this way, we want to foster an environment of collaboration and yeah, breaking down the traditional barriers.
Very exciting.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sophie, and thank for everyone. It was super fast. I just realized it's 3:01 now, so I just like to thank everyone, our speakers today, for listening. This session has been recorded, and here are sharing our contact details in case you want to contact us. I just want to close this webinar mentioning that webinars like this, for this transparency when you're speaking about the subjects and also sharing information with other airline colleagues, it's super necessary, because it's not about an ambition for an individual airline moving forward. It's about the whole industry. So this conversation needs to keep on, and thank you our panelists today for being so transparent and be sharing this information with us. Thank you, and see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.